This indicator right over here was always right back here in 2021, and currently it is flashing something absolutely insane. And as well, I'm still up here, $600,000 here on my crypto long position. I'm going to give you guys a very big update here on my position because something is about here to change very, very soon. Of course, watch this video till the end if you want to know what I'm about to change. Now, of course, guys, make sure, of course, to press the like button down below and understand, guys, I'm not going to give you any guarantees in this video. I'm just a random guy here on the internet, just making these videos here for fun. This is all just my own opinion. Now, let's dive here straight into the analysis. So currently, funding rate here is still negative. We got a little bit of a move here to the downside. And this, of course, is because, well, currently there is a kind of a little bit of a conflict going on. And that is why the Bitcoin price is currently stalling a little bit. It's also weekend, so it's kind of understandable. But this conflict that I will talk about a little bit later here in this video dragged the Bitcoin price down a little bit. Now, again, we have a volume cluster here around $96,000. That if we are going to see a massive move to the downside, probably bounce back over here and move here back to the upside. That still very much means that my long position as well here is very, very much safe. So in my opinion, I'm just going to wait this out. Again, I have a very, very strong position. We've broken the all-time high. It's very unlikely, in my opinion, that we're just going to come back here and retrace this move to the downside. I just think here that we're just going to be stalling. We're just going to be waiting for kind of an event. We're going to be waiting for a little bit of volatility. But in my opinion, it just requires a little bit more patience here. The funding rate here is still negative. Most people are still shorting the Bitcoin price. So in my opinion, there's really no point here in stressing it out. Sometimes Bitcoin just tends to do that. It tends to just kind of take its time to play out, and we just have to be patient and see what it does. So now, if we actually use our brain a little bit and we just maybe knock on your brain right over here, if you have something in your head, we can also just look at something of the indicators out there. And we can just look at some of the indicators. What are they actually saying? What's really happening on chain over here? For example, the Tether market cap is currently here growing to the upside. Now, back in 2020, I can still remember some of the big traders were posting on that back then on Twitter, saying that whenever the Tether market cap would grow, basically the Bitcoin price tended to follow. And people don't really tend to talk about this anymore that much, but it is still, in my opinion, a very, very major indicator that something big is about to happen. So the Tether market cap continues to grow. More money is currently flowing here into the system. This move over here that we are currently seeing, this was an increase here of 10 billion Tether. So as you can see, 10 billion, about, well, even more, 15 billion Tether. Right over here, this increase over here was about 20 billion. So when we pumped here to the upside, this increase right over here was 20 billion. And this move over here from the exact peak all the way over here was 15 million. And we haven't even broken right over here the all-time high. So more Tether is in the market, more liquidity is in the market. That could hypothetically push the Bitcoin price here as well further again to the upside. Again, I'm just a guy on the internet, not a financial advisor, but in my opinion, this is a very nice indication that potentially things are looking very, very good for Bitcoin. So let's keep that in mind here while we still are looking at our juicy position. Are we going to be cashing this out? Well, I am not, because again, we have an indicator here saying that this thing here on chain analysis, there's more liquidity ready to be fired up here. And so in my opinion, we're just going to be waiting. Now, going over here to the next indicator, right over here, this is the Bitcoin cycle indicator. It's called the Bitcoin cycles indicator. You can find it over here on TradingView. And this indicator right over here basically shows you whenever Bitcoin is overbought and oversold. So as you can see over here, when the Bitcoin price here had this crash here during 2020, we captured over here this exact bottom. Look at that, and we continued here further to the upside. Right over here, you can see, for example, over here, this over here, major correction to the downside, finding support here. Right over here, major correction to the downside. And so right over here as well, look at that, major support, major support, major support. This indicator is extremely important because basically whenever you hit one of those lines, you tend to get a big kind of correction. If you come back, it tends to flip it into support. So the same thing can be seen over here. Look at this, the big waterfall crash right over here after 3 hour capital went bust. The Luna altcoin, whatever, crap coin, went also bust over here, big correction to the downside. We right over here found support here again on the green line. FTX found support on the green line. And look at that over here as well, found support here, right over here again. And then we started to rally until we hit the purple line. Look at that, big rejection. Also here, big rejection. So this indicator over here is extremely important because it basically shows us whenever we hit one of those levels, we tend to see a big correction. And then generally speaking, we tend to see the cycles here top out here at this red line. So we saw this, for example, over here. These big cycle tops happen around the red line. And over here, right over here as well. We touched it over here, 40% correction, came back, 40% correction, and eventually we even traded over here above it, but you understand the story. It tends to go over here at a minimum here towards the red line. So currently we haven't hit the red line yet. It's around $180,000 US. So according to this indicator, so this is again just according to the indicator here, we could be looking here at, again, if this indicator is going to play out here at $180,000 here. Now, my personal target here is around $200,000. So I still think we're probably going to start blasting here towards this level. But again, it shows you guys, we're probably going to see the all-time high here at the end of the year, somewhere around that maybe. As you guys know, my personal target here is an all-time high here around the end of the year. We still have a very long time, so we can be a little bit patient. And of course, I am, by the way, over here with this long position is I'm currently up here $640,000. My target is going to be over $2 million. If this thing starts blasting the all-time high, this thing will probably continue to go further to the upside, in my opinion. And so that's why I have this position right over here open. Again, this is on the BTCC exchange. I tend to travel a lot, and so a lot of these exchanges, they require VPN or personal information, and the BTC does not actually require any kind of personal information. And of course, as a traveler, I want to have access to any exchange. I've never had any problems with this exchange. It's always up 24/7. I have a link here in the description if you want to actually click it as well. Can you sign up, fill in your email address if you are interested in trading on the same exchange. You get a 10% deposit bonus when you first deposit. So if you deposit $50,000, you get $5,000 for free. And of course, if you make any profits with that bonus with your entire deposit, you of course completely keep your profits. You can of course withdraw them as well. And if you lose your bonus, well, you still keep your initial deposit, so you wouldn't have lost anything. Again, there's a sign up link in the description if you are interested. Now, going over here to the next thing very quickly, there seems to be a conflict right now going on between two countries, Iran and, well, I'm not even going to say the names because whenever I'm going to talk about conflicts, YouTube tends to demonetize my videos, but you understand things are going to happen here in the Middle East. Now, why do I want to quickly talk about this is because this was negatively affecting the Bitcoin price, but currently it says that the US may be involved in this conflict, and to be honest, that's going to be a new reason to print money, because guess what, a new war, there needs to be new money to fund it, so they might be printing new money. This is going to be hyper bullish for Bitcoin if this is going to be the case. It's not going to be bullish for civilization, but whatever. I'm a Bitcoin analyst. I'm going to talk about the Bitcoin price. In the short term, if there's a big conflict, you may see oil crashing, stocks crashing, Bitcoin crashing. But I think long term, it's probably just going to be all the roads. They all end up in the same position, but it's just printing money to fund a new war. So it is something to be keeping in mind here. Of course, in the Middle East, always stuff happens. But if this is going to be a full-blown conflict, you can expect that the Bitcoin price will have a decent correction to the downside. Oil will probably also have a correction to the downside, but I think it is going to spike the Bitcoin price further to the upside. I remember there was a missile attack back here in 2020, and I think Bitcoin also crashed very heavily, and then we recovered back to the upside. And that was also in the same country, Iran. So, in my opinion, guys, something to keep in mind, but if it is going to crash in the coming few days, I am going to be completely fine. I'm not going to be stressed about it. It will probably recover back to the upside. So if you are in a long position and things, go down in the Middle East, you might get stopped out. I guess that's something important that you might have to actually know. Anyway, that was the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, subscribe. Hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.